Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Minneapolis. I'm Marcel Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Hall of Famer Randy Buehler, and we are underway but paused here down in the feature match area. We have Willie Adel of Brazil playing against Pat Cox of the United States. And Willie, he's always on Jund.
Always. He had success at the Pro Tour with this deck. Continues to have success with it here, sitting on a nice 6-1.
Now, Pat Cox, well-known.
We have a Zoo sighting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at.
It's interesting because he's normally known for playing white weenie
Zoo's about
strategies
as close as
and white weenies-ish, right?
Like, yeah, white weenie-ish. Yeah, I mean, Zoo, isn't he the wildest Nakatl?
He is the wildest possible Nakatl.
Yeah, I mean, his Twitter handle is wildest Nakatl.
He was overjoyed when Nakatl came back, so it's no surprise to see him on Zoo here.
Path to Exile was Willie's choice.
Okay. Indicating maybe
that he has a creature that he doesn't want killed. Yeah, maybe it could be Confidant.
Dark Confidant, maybe a Tarmogoyf, something like that. In the meantime, Loam Lion's going to get in there for a couple of damage here. Stomping Ground's going to enter the battlefield untapped, so we're going to see something here from Pat.
Yeah, we've seen some big Zoo in the feature match area. We haven't really seen the aggro Zoo. Right, this is Loam Lion, Wild Nakatl.
This is Cat Attack. Look at this.
There you go.
3/3 and 2/2-powered creatures on turn 2. 7 power.
and 9 toughness.
This is what Zoo is supposed to do.
Yes.
So the question is, what is Willie's answer here? We're in game 1. It's round 8.
Yeah, I mean, the best answer for this, and some of the Jund decks have access to it, is well, that's fine, yeah.
Maelstrom Pulse.
I was going to say Anger the Gods, but Maelstrom Pulse is almost as good there.
Yeah, it's going to take down 2/3 of the Cat army that Patrick Cox has summoned here. He's going to get in there for 3 damage. Drop Willie down to 14.
Yeah, Anger the Gods is really tricky to get double red.
Wow, no land Anger. And no play for Pat Cox here.
That's not good.
And here's a Courser of Crufix.
Oh, a turn 4 Courser where he hasn't played a land yet. Gets to play the land off the top.
Gain a life back. Every life gain matters in a matchup like this. Also 2/4 blocker, by the way. And
Did
Willie
he just
doesn't
take
block.
it?
Yeah, in fact, I don't think he hesitated at all there. He does know most of Pat Cox's hand from that Inquisition of Kozilek.
Yeah, we were just getting situated. I don't remember. Was there a lightning bolt in there?
I don't know. I didn't see. And here's Geist of St. Traff now for Patrick Cox. So looking like Domain Zoo potentially here, or is Geist of St. Traff in all of them?
No. That definitely starts to smell domainish to me.
Okay.
Could easily have Tribal Flames, all 5 land types. So it's kind of a fun game to figure out what the decks are as the matchup. That's how the players do it, right?
Yeah, it's true.
They don't get the benefit of the deck lists.
No.
It's kind of, I like this game. Yeah, no, when he goes and gets Steam Vents, and then I think that signals Tribal Zoo. The basic difference being you have all 5 land types and you have Tribal Flames, which becomes 2 mana, deal 5.
And then you get access to sweet cards like Geist of St. Traff.
There you go.
Wow. Very aggressive for Willie Adel here. He's going to play 2 Confidants here.
I bet one of them trades for Geist.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't willing to block the Nakatl with his Courser. Maybe he's willing to block Geist with his Courser?
Now, is there any, there's Chandra Pyromaster sitting on top of the library right here.
Sure.
That's 4. If you're Pat Cox, do you just say, you know what, go? And I hope that, because, if he has Tribal Flames or Lightning Bolts or something like that, it doesn't take much.
It's fair.
Does he win that, though, right? I mean, does Willie just get so much advantage so quickly that Pat Cox actually can't combat that?
I mean, this attack does deal 4 damage because the Angel will get through.
That's true.
And
only
one of those Bobs is living.
Die.
Oh, wow. Lightning Helix, the Dark Confidant.
Right, so he's definitely not taking
Bolt
that line.
the other Dark Confidant.
Wow. And he's going to get 7 damage in here.
Huh. And now he no longer has the bolt to finish off a Courser. So the Courser blocking Geist of St. Draft is just free here, right?
Yeah, unless Pat Cox
he's slow rolling a land.
Bolt. Yeah, he could be.
You risk that if you're Willie. Pick off the Geist. You don't want to take another Angel hit next turn.
Especially since in Wild Nikotl blocking that doesn't actually hit you.
Right,
He took it.
Wow.
Took 9.
Really?
Anger. Oh, that Angel's gone, by the way.
Well, that anger is. I didn't even realize Willie had it in his list. We were
You
setting up the
mentioned
Maelstrom
it,
Pulse.
and
No, it was
he
like
has it.
the perfect card against
Yeah.
Zoo. That card sitting on top of Willie's deck right now is the reason Zoo did so badly at Pro Tour Born of the Gods.
Unfortunately, that Geist of St. Draft represents a lethal attack on its own in the air.
Yeah,
here.
anger. It may be face up. That does not mean it's in Willie's hand.
No.
It is on top of his library. Wow, I can't believe he took Geist. Yeah, the 4/4 Flying Angel is just lethal here, right?
Yes. Pat Cox is at a very comfortable 17 life. There's no crackback situation, even with Raging
I mean,
Ravines and such.
he's treating Courser. He believes that the gain life and draw extra cards parts of Courser are so good. He's just treating it like a standing enchantment. Maybe he's treating it like a god that he hasn't turned on yet.
Okay.
It's like he only gets that ability.
And now here's Dark Confidant. Willie's back up to 5 thanks to the 1 life gain from the Courser. He did play a land there, so he's not just dead here.
Sure. Yeah, now he has to block.
Is that mutagenic growth?
Oh, yes,
Wow.
sir. Mutagenic growth.
Pat Cox just very calmly cast the mutagenic growth.
What did we just see?
It's funny. Look at these guys. Dead faces. Just nothing even happened there. But that was a very close.
Was mutagenic growth in his hand when the Inquisition and Kozilek resolved?
Could have been. That could have been why he didn't want to block.
Like if mutagenic hand was in his hand, if he saw mutagenic growth with the Inquisition, then I take back all the bad things I thought about declining
that
the
would
block
make
with
perfect
Corsair.
sense. Yeah.
It's still I guess. I mean,
You do have to get it out of his hand at some point.
right. I mean, as you saw there, it was just lethal.
Right. Take a look at our Zoo graphic here.
Yeah, one of the best
Covers it
aggro decks of
nicely.
all time. I mean, that is still the headline here. I mean, it may not be on top of the metagame right now, but it is very powerful. It kind of defines how fast your solid, consistent aggro decks can be. It's not quite as sort of all in, oh my god, powerful as Affinity can be with its good draw, or Infect can be with its good draw. And I mean, the best draws from those decks are really defining aggro in this format right now, rather than the Zoo deck. But yeah, this is magic. This is pretty straightforward aggro magic.
Take a look at a mid-range over here. Jund in this case, and this is a deck that Willie Adel, well, I mean, he built it, maybe not the original.
Been playing
first
it for
one,
years
but
and years.
He has absolutely tweaked this list.
Now,
to
this is one where
perfection.
the banning of Deathrite Shaman really did hurt this deck. I mean, excuse me. Deathrite Shaman isn't, the core of the deck strategically, but it was mana acceleration, and it was life gain, and it was a late game kill condition. So, it gave you this inevitability that effectively came from one of your mana cards.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just the raw power level of that card really pushed this deck over the top to where, with Deathrite Shaman, it was arguably the best deck in the format. Now, it's one of the players. I feel like it's a metagame call. I mean, there are decks that it matches up well against. There are decks that it matches up kind of mediocre against. I mean, it is still good. And it's particularly good if what you want to do is knock cards out of your opponent's hand. If you want to play a disruption strategy, you want to kind of trade cards, get ahead incrementally. It definitely can win the attrition war. Dark Confidant gets a card drawing. Liliana messes with their hand. Thoughtseize, Inquisition can be a very disruptive strategy. But you know what? Sometimes it just gets rolled by the aggro deck, and that's basically what we saw there.
Yeah.
Even with Courser, Willie wasn't quite able to stabilize.
No.
He got a 2-for-1 with his Maelstrom Pulse, but he didn't have the anger, wasn't able to actually sweep the board, and that just happens sometimes with Jund.
This is going to be interesting to see what happens post-board as Willie, especially in the colors that he's chosen to play, has access to basically all the premium removal spells outside of Path to Exile in this format. I mean, he can kill creatures. If his plan is to kill your creatures, Willie has the tools in this deck to do that. The question is, how does Pat maneuver himself so that he can minimize the damage that's going to happen? I mean, he's going to be facing lightning bolts, abrupt decays, anger of the gods, sweepers. He's going to be facing 2-for-1 cards like Maelstrom Pulse. I mean, it is going to get ugly if you're on Pat Cox's side of the table here.
I love this mutagenic growth here. There's the third one in the sideboard. There's 2 main and a third in the board.
So that saves his creatures from lightning bolts and also gets in for more
Anger
damage.
of the Gods.
Or Anger of the Gods, there you go.
And yeah, you can brain them for +2.
Yeah.
It's free. I mean, it's a green Phyrexian mana, so it's effectively just free. You never care about paying the 2 life in the Zoo deck. Yeah, say it, counter a lightning bolt or an Anger of the Gods, or counter part of an Anger of the Gods, counter a lightning bolt, deal 2 to your opponent, 0 mana.
That's very flexible.
I haven't really seen 2+1 mutagenic growth floating around these Zood lists, but it looks really good.
All right, here's Abrupt Decay to take down the Wild Nacatl for Pat Cox. He's living his own personal dream, turn 1 Wild Nacatl, but it was not to be. Willie did have to take a little bit of damage to make that happen, it looks like. Maybe he just took 1 from the Nacatl.
Yeah, I think that's Blackcliff Cliffs.
It was from the, it was Blackleaf Cliff, so he did not have to take any damage from it. He only had to crack Verdant Catacombs. And what's the follow-up play? Well, it is Pat Cox, so it's Wild Nacatl, and we've also got a Curd Ape.
Yeah, he does have the 4 Tribal Flames. This is
okay. Tribal
Zoo with Geist of St. Troft and mutagenic growth for added flavor.
Yeah, some of these will run Might of Alara, which is +5/+5 for green mana. And
a lot of them go Gorkline Rampager as a card that he only has 1 of. Like that's what he doesn't have.
Uncounterable.
Right. Yeah. You can give your guy +4/+4 and trample uncounterable.
No chump blocks here. Now there's Tarmogoyf though for Willie Adel, and Goyf looks like it's at 1/2. It's a 3/4. Seems to be about the perfect size given the board state we have here. Though this is, again, another spot where a card like Mutagenic Growth,
I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
And allows Pat Cox to still develop his board, if that is what he has.
Tribal Flames also gets the job done here. I mean, assuming he's fetching for a 5th land type.
And he
Which he is.
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely smells like Tribal Flames.
Now, if you're in Pat Cox's seat, are you just happy you have an answer for Tarmogoyf here? Yeah. Or are you kind of bummed? Would you rather see your Tribal Flames go to the face every time?
I mean, I got to get the Tarmogoyf out of the way. I mean, I just did deal 5 to the face.
All right.
If he doesn't kill the Tarmogoyf, he doesn't get to attack for 5.
Right.
Yeah, it's clear blocker attack, clear blocker attack. That is plan A.
Oh, no. Willie Adel just missed his land drop and had to pass a turn back. He's got Liliana the Veil in his hand.
Yeah.
And you see things
clicking
up. All right, so no play for the turn, but he is still missing lands here, and it could get out of hand for him. No, Pat Cox plays his 4th land with nothing to follow up with. Wow, right on time, too, his 3rd black mana source, and that is going to leave Pat Cox creatureless here.
Yep, definitely go with the -2 on Liliana. When you get the board where they have only 1 creature, you get to put her into play, 1 counter, and they have nothing, so powerful.
It's sweet, yeah.
It's like, I used my card to kill your creature. Oh, but now I have this inevitability threat thing going on.
Yeah,
The good news for Pat Cox is that he should be able to empty his hand pretty nicely here. I mean, all of his cards cost like what?
I mean, he only gets to play 1 land a turn.
1 land
he played,
per turn?
Yeah, he can't empty his hand if his hand's full of land.
Oh, sure, but I mean, he doesn't care about discarding those.
He looks flooded.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that Liliana the Veil isn't going to do a lot of damage on the plus side if he can cast anything he wants out of his hand. It looks like Willie has a 2nd copy.
Yeah, I see that.
In his hand. Which is often a fine discard target for it if that's his plan. And Willie really is going to want to get that 2nd counter on Liliana the Veil at some point here just to
yeah, I mean, I assume he's going to plus. I guess the only drawback is they're locks it on Smiters floating around or anything that's going to come into play for free.
Land and Jun Charm hit the bin. You'll see this pretty often, too, from the Jund players. They'll use their Liliana Veils, just like a sorcery. Those like sorcery edict you, and then you have to attack it. So basically it's like gain 2 life, edict you, which is just fine. This way. All right, there's Geisa St. Traft against Liliana on 2. So not exactly ideal. It's going to force
It's going
Willie
to kill the
use it.
Liliana.
Yeah.
Would have been a lot better last turn.
Yeah. And Willie's pretty happy about that, considering that he has a second copy of Liliana that he can just play if he wants. Or Thrun, the last troll. Thrun's trying to be the last man standing as well. And Thrun's a big problem.
Yes.
Although, once again, I have to say that the mutagenic growth, you know, like with Willie tapped
It
out.
regenerates, so
It
like, you're not going to kill
out.
it. He's going to be tapped out and attacking somehow. It doesn't happen. Well, I had Willie written off 3 turns ago.
Yeah, me too.
He missed his 3rd land drop. Pat was attacking with multiple creatures. I was ready to move to a new table.
Me too.
Now I'm ready to move to game 3.
Right. In fact, Willie looks like he's going to try to get that job done about as quickly as possible here, too. He attacks with Thrun, the last troll. Knocks Patrick Cox down to 9.
Yeah, Willie's doing Tribal Flames math. It's like, all right, right now I can survive 2 Tribal Flames.
Yeah, well, he can't anymore. He just
played
a land. Is that Bow of Nylea?
Yeah,
wow.
That is Bow of Nylea.
The sick tech. So he went down,
tap, gain 3.
Yeah, he went down to 10 to cast it, but he can gain 3 of that back.
That's crazy.
Anytime he wants here. And I mean, that's basically like tap, discard a lightning bolt you, right? I mean, it's just taking chunks of Pat Cox's hand out of play here. And Pat, I think you were totally right, Randy.
Wow.
He's just flooding here. And now Willie's just out of range. He's at 13, virtual 16 if he wants to be here.
Bow of Nylea.
Bow of Nylea.
Have you seen that card in play in Modern?
No, and you know what? It's also going to shorten the clock by 1 as well, because next turn Willie can attack with Thrun and put a counter on it. Yeah, although it doesn't look like he's going to need to do that with Tarmogoyf.
Is Bow of Nylea really the right card?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think.
Sweet and limited.
Oh yeah, I mean it does it does a million things, but it feels like he's sideboarding it primarily against things like burn. I would think the life gain is the most relevant ability.
Pretty slow.
I mean, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like, is there not a faster life gain card you could put in your sideboard?
I don't know.
I mean, +1/+1 counters can be relevant. I mean, attacking with Death Touch is not. Doesn't seem like that comes up very often.
No.
What are the other abilities?
Shuffle 3 cards or 3 or 4 cards from your graveyard. On
mess with their
bottom
graveyard is relevant in matchups. But I mean, it's not a relic in terms of how efficient it is.
No, it's very slow.
It's like a super expensive, super slowish relic.
Yeah.
And you
that
do
gains
get
you
to
life
mess
in
with
turn.
their graveyard, right?
It also does 2 damage to a flyer, which hits some things. You know, maybe the affinity deck, it can start mowing down flyers. It's a stretch.
Wow. Okay, it might be good. Is that good against a figure? You're going to spend 3 mana +2 to kill.
I mean, the way I would view it is like it's his put away card, right? Like he uses all his removal to sort of stabilize, and then that thing just makes it so that he can't lose anymore.
This list of things that the card does keeps growing.
It does. It
does
4
a
different
lot of
things.
things.
Yeah.
It does like 5 things if you count attackers getting Death Touch.
True. All right, here is Snapcaster Mage. Tribal Flames target you.
Yeah, no,
gain
I'm
2
going to gain some life.
Gain 3 life in response. So that's only going to knock Willie down to 11 here. Desperate acts of a desperate man here.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're going to game 3. I'm just fascinated by Bow of Nylea.
Me too.
It does mess with their graveyard, right? It's not just yours.
Willie's doing some Tarmogoyf math here. I think it's a 5/6.
Oh, it's just your graveyard. Okay. So it doesn't actually thwart graveyards.
Slaughter Pact, target your Snapcaster Mage. Looks like Willie wants to shut the door right now. And he does exactly that as Pat Cox scoops up his permanents. A blazing start for Pat. Really nice. Had both of his creatures killed after Willie stumbled on mana. And Willie was able to just take over the game from there as Pat Cox looks like he drew a few too many lands for his liking. Take a look at our back table. There's Luis Scott Vargas.
7-0, Luis Scott Vargas. I was reading on Twitter that he felt like the key to his comeback. So in the feature match, we had him in the feature match last round, Jake and I did. He lost game 1. He switched up his strategy for game 2. He went with lands in front of spells. and was rewarded with Game 2 and Game 3 wins.
No.
Yeah, he apparently texted Jerry Thompson just to alert him that he was switching to lands above spells to see if it would work.
And it did.
And it did.
I hate that. I can't believe that. Take a look at Willie Edel. A Platinum Pro, had a bang-up year last year, 52 Pro points, and is on a solid year this year already at 32.
Yep.
Needs a little something to get back to Platinum, but he could do it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get at least 6 from the 2 PTs, so that's 38.
38, so
he needs to do
7?
7 above the minimum to get back to Platinum,
So
which is
when
plausible.
a GP is 8, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's like he needs one result between now and the end of Portland.
Yeah.
The other thing from Willie's perspective, he is currently the leader in pro points amongst South Americans. There's 2 slots for South American players at the World Championships. Right now, it's Willie and Paulo. Not bad, right? And Willie is ahead of Paulo. Willie is also, that means he's in line to be the captain of the Brazil team at the World Magic Cup. So, and he's got to hold off Paulo. He's got to hold off, anybody else who makes a run. So he's sitting. I mean, his 32 is a little better than most people's 32, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I agree, Platinum is the real goal.
That's right.
I mean, if he gets to Platinum, he makes sure, he gets 7 points from somewhere, puts up one more good, strong finish. He gets everything else also.
Yep. 6 Grand Prix top 8s, and really impressive 4 Pro Tour top 8s for Willie Edel.
Oh, yeah. No, he's definitely somebody that, when Hall of Fame season gets cranked up here in a little bit, he's going to be a candidate that people have conversations about.
For sure.
I mean, I think that some people like to give him extra credit for putting up those results while living in South America. I mean, it's definitely something people talk about with Paulo as well. It's just hard for Paulo to put up the results that he did. Like, it's expensive to fly to Grand Prix when you live in Brazil.
It's very expensive to fly to Grand Prix.
So those 6 GP top 8s, it's more impressive than, the guy who lives in Tokyo or the guy who, lives in Columbus, Ohio, where, there's 37 GPs a year within driving distance.
Right.
I mean, exaggerating slightly, but I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to give people extra credit for that or not. I mean, it's kind of an interesting question.
It makes it more impressive to me, but I don't think that you put him, above somebody else.
Yeah. It feels like maybe it's a tiebreaker, but I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, definitely, he's had an impressive career. He's in the conversation. You talk about that one more result that gets him Platinum.
Yeah.
If that one more result is, say, a Pro Tour top 8,
he's
get more
pretty
than
much a
Platinum.
lock. Yeah, 5 PT top 8s is where you just can't be ignored.
No, if he top 8's Atlanta, he gets voted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. All right, here it is. Turn 1, the wildest Nicodle for Patrick Cox. So he's loving life. Oh, wow. Dismember, though, for the full damage to Willie Edel, but he is. This is going to be how this matchup goes, though, for Pat Cox. His first few creatures are going to get killed.
Yeah.
They are not living. Hey, another one. Yeah, Jund has to be a pretty annoying matchup for Zoo, I would assume.
Yeah.
Jund can just kill everything they do and has ways to finish the game from there. Maybe it's not terrible.
It's not that. I mean, it depends. Like, Jund with Anger of the Gods is a terrible matchup.
Yeah.
But, like, if they're 1-for-1ing you and taking some damage every time they do it, it's not that bad.
Uh-huh.
It's when they're sweeping you, when they're like, 2-for-1ing you with Maelstrom Pulse, you're like, how lucky. But, they sweep the board with Anger of the Gods, and you're like, why did I play Zoo?
Right. That could be our tagline from the last Pro Tour, by the way.
Why did I play Zoo?
After getting swept by Anger of the Gods.
Exactly.
All right, so Willie's going to pass a turn here because he's got Abrupt Decay at the ready. And Abrupt Decay is going to take down the second wild Nicodle from Pat Cox here.
Man down.
And what's the plan?
Now maybe the third creature will live. He's got, 23 creatures in his list? So by rights, he should have another one. I haven't got a good look at Pat's hand. I think that the play he wants to make here would be land Geist.
Instead,
no
he
land
does nothing,
go is
nothing.
not really the way he wanted to draw this turn up.
Wow. This could get ugly. Let's see what Willie has, though. All right, so he's going to make black and green, and he's going to play Inquisition of Kozilek, revealing
Tribal Flames.
Mutagenic Growth, Snapcaster Mage. There's
What's
a path
this? Oh,
to
it's the
exile.
other red card?
It looks like a lightning bolt.
Okay, so the thing Pat was thinking about it in his main phase was whether or not to cast Tribal Flames. It's a sorcery, so he could have just fired it off for 4.
Instead, was his plan just to play Snapcaster Mage, or just hope to draw
I think
lands?
he was doing nothing. I think he was just hoping for land. I mean, he could Lightning Bolt end step.
Right.
Like I might Lightning Bolt end step there if I'm Pat Cox. Tribal Flames was not bad though. I mean, whatever. He needs to draw land and/or creatures. Is what he needs to do.
Yeah, he's got Snapcaster Bolt, Snapcaster Tribal Flames. He's got access to Path to Exile to take anything really annoying out of the way. Yeah, he just needs to draw. I mean, basically one of those Wild Nacatls still alive would be fantastic. Unfortunately for him, both of Willie's removal spells got around that Mutagenic Growth pretty nicely.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, Lightning Bolt would not have worked there.
Right.
And Snapcaster? Yeah, that seems like totally the right take there for Willie.
If we ran the numbers, I would say that Snapcaster Mage has to be the card most taken by Inquisition ever.
Attention, Brandon Yorson, your legacy side event.
All right, he found a creature, Kurdape.
Brandon Yorson, side event stage.
Using a proper Arabian Nights Kurdape there too.
Agree.
Respect to that.
Full props.
Here's a land for Willie Adel.
It's a well-loved Arabian Nights card 8 too.
It is, yeah.
Get the wear around the edges.
Probably been hard shuffled in a few tournaments. It's all part of the mystique. All right, percent chance this Kurdape survives the turn. Pretty low.
10?
10-ish. That sounds
maybe 20.
Oh. The 85%er came in. And Pat Cox now is once again left to rebuild his board. He's got a nice hand to finish off Willie Adel with potentially here. He can control Willie's board reasonably, but he needs some on-the-ground pressure here.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Geist
have
would be the best.
Right. Geist into the empty board.
Right. It's only Liliana that really answers a Geist. Yeah, I mean, Willie has successfully killed all of Pat's creatures, hasn't taken that much damage, and now here's Tarmogoyf.
Right.
Tarmogoyf's going to take all the glory. It was all me. I did all the work. He's probably taking a path to exile, is what Tarmogoyf's really doing here.
Indeed. So Goyf goes for a walk. Willie goes for a forest. Pat Cox cracks his fetch land, grabs a stomping ground, and still has the same issue here. Needs to find pressure. He's got a bolt in his hand still. He still has Tribal Flames.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's
7.
over half-ish.
Well, he doesn't have black mana.
Oh, no, black mana. All right. So
Tribal Flames is on 4 right now.
yeah, pushing half of Willie Adel's life total just in those 2 cards. And here's a Loam Lion. Willie's down to 2 cards in hand. You got to wonder if he's running out of removal yet.
No.
Okay. Sorcerer Crew Fix reveals engineered explosives.
Huh. Seems pretty good.
And who needs removal when you have a sweet stop sign like the Courser? Now, Pat is going to get to attack here, though. Remember, Willie knows about the mutagenic growth in Pat Cox's hand here.
Yeah, game one, Willie just refused to ever block out of fear of that. Wow. He still had an Abrupt Decay?
All right, still just going to use Abrupt Decay.
I think his last card is Slaughter Pact, too. I thought I saw a Slaughter Pact in his hand. Still not out of removal.
Just a general reminder that we are.
Yeah, Pat's going to need to burn him down from 15. I think that's how this plays. He's got 7. That fetch land can probably get the 5th basic land type.
It can. You can get a Blood Crypt.
So he's like halfway there. He Tribal Flames is the Courser. Well, I guess he's just going to gain life,
Yeah.
in theory.
And Willie draws that Engineering Explosive for the turn and just passes it back.
Yep.
You said it before, though, Randy. I think Geist of St. Trapped is kind of what the doctor ordered here. Right?
Well, Geist loses to Engineered Explosives, doesn't it? He's got 3 land types.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah,
Force him to use it. I guess any.
I don't want to draw creatures anymore. I just want to draw burn spells.
Okay,
I
you
mean,
just wanna go to
Snapcaster's
the-
allowed,
Oh yeah, there
and
you
that's
go.
it. I want to draw Tribal Flames, Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Bolt.
All right.
I got to deal 15, and he's already killed all my creatures. I mean, we know Willie's got 2 removal spells left. Pat only knows about 1 of them, but still.
Tarmogoyf.
All right. I mean, he drew it. He's going to play it. It's going to get killed. Yeah, he goes ahead and does the Slaughter Pact. I guess that's reasonable since he doesn't think he'll have anything to spend his mana on to go ahead and get that out of the way.
That's right. And additionally, he wants to be able to destroy Geist of St. Trapped just in case that is what comes down in Slaughter Pact.
Yeah, good point. I was thinking he gave away free information.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Patrick Cox learned more about his hand than he would have if Willie had used the Engineered Explosives. But the existence of Geist of St. Trapped, I think, makes Willie's line correct.
That's right. And here's a Lightning Bolt. I mean, we talked about it. He can kill stuff now.
But Mutagenic
we knew
Growth,
about that,
finally!
yeah. So Willie just says, I got to get that thing out of your hand, I guess, at some point here.
It's time.
Tarmogoyf.
Now, Willie can...
What is it, a 4/5?
At least. Instant sorcery land creature. No planeswalkers, no artifacts. Wait, there's an enchantment.
There's an enchantment because
So
of
it's 5.
the
The Courser is an
Courser's
enchantment creature.
Yeah, that's been messing with stuff. The new enchantment creatures.
Now, Willie has to decide whether he wants to whether he wants to play his Engineered Explosives.
On
And-
1.
Yeah, on 1. I think I agree with not playing it here. I think you can block. Interesting.
Well, Pat Cox is definitely attacking.
Just takes it.
Willie took it. He's going to drop down to 12. I mean, Willie's got Pat Cox on a 3-turn clock with his Tarmogoyf here.
Wow, it's a 2-for-1 if Cox can kill it.
Yeah. Ooh.
There's the Geist.
to St. Trapped. So it looks
Wow.
like Goyf is going to have to stay back.
Or replacing Explosives on 3.
Yes.
I would have blocked Nakatl there. In the worst case scenario, you kill a Nakatl and a Lightning Bolt. Yeah, get rid of the Geist. That part's easy.
Yeah. And now attack.
And Willie just
And that
wins.
added an artifact to the
Oh, nice.
yard too. So now it's
It's a
6
6.
damage. Still the same clock, although Willie's got a lightning bolt in his hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that actually does make it into a 2-turn clock. If that Goyf hits one more time, then Willie will have this match. Goyf gets in there, and
There
there's
you
lightning
go.
bolt right to you. And that's going to do it. Willie Adel
Wow.
takes down Pat Cox to stay at X1. He's going to be 7-1. Pat Cox is going to fall to 6-2, and he's going to have to pick up a victory in his last round if he wants to make day 2 here.